let's dive right into a really fascinating geopolitical puzzle. Why does the US look at Venezuela's oil and think, let's change the government, but then look at Greenland, a NATO ally's territory, and talk about outright annexation? I mean, just look at the contrast. In Venezuela, the whole strategy is about regime change to get at its oil. But then you pivot to Greenland, which belongs to Denmark, a key NATO partner, and suddenly the conversation shifts to literally taking the territory. Same goal, resources, but two completely different playbooks. So what's the deal here? Is this just random? No, not at all. There's a powerful logic behind this, and once you see it, it reveals a huge shift in how superpowers are starting to think about global control. And here it is, the core idea for this entire explainer. The US sees three totally different strategic problems. It's about whether you need to fix the political software, secure the working hardware, or literally own the physical map itself. Okay, so let's break this down. First up, Venezuela. This is our baseline for understanding what we mean by rule without occupation.
So on paper, Venezuela is an absolute giant. It's sitting on 300 billion barrels of proven oil reserves. To put that in perspective, that's even more than Saudi Arabia.
But in the real world, that potential is just rotting away. Production has totally collapsed, from over 3 million barrels a day to less than a third of that. The whole system, the refineries, the pipelines, the people who know how to run them, it's all basically offline.
So if you're looking at this from Washington, the problem isn't the oil itself, it's the management. The solution seems pretty straightforward. You don't need troops guarding oil fields. You just need to break the hostile regime, help install a friendly one, and then use contracts to turn the taps back on.
And this right here is a perfect illustration of rule without occupation. The thinking is, why bother with the mess and expense of physically sitting on the hardware when you can just change the political software that controls it? Okay, now let's switch gears and look at Colombia. This is where the logic flips. The US isn't trying to fix broken software here, it's all about protecting fully functional hardware. See, Colombia is home to the Cerro Matoso mine. It's a world-class source of nickel, pumping out over 43,000 tons a year. That nickel goes straight into things like stainless steel and the batteries for electric cars. And here is the absolute key difference from Venezuela. Colombia is a well-oiled machine. The mine is connected to global markets, the government is a reliable partner, and its location, with coasts on two oceans, is incredibly strategic. This quote really nails the perspective. The US doesn't just see a country with a mine. It sees a forward operating base that just so happens to come with a working nickel supply chain already built in. It's a strategic asset. So the strategy isn't about taking over. It's about ensuring permanent access. It's about using bases, training missions, and intelligence hubs to protect this incredibly valuable, already functioning asset. And now for the final piece of the puzzle, Greenland. This is where the strategy takes its most extreme and controversial form. This isn't about software or hardware anymore. This is about owning the geometry of the planet. Now, Greenland is an absolute treasure trove of critical resources. We're talking estimates of 6.6 million tons of rare earth oxides, plus one of the largest untapped uranium deposits on Earth. Just staggering potential. But here's the twist. The local government in Greenland actually banned uranium mining a few years back. That basically puts these massive projects on ice indefinitely. So you have to ask, right? If you can't even dig this stuff up, why on earth was there serious talk about annexing the place? The answer has almost nothing to do with what's in the ground. It has everything to do with where Greenland is on the map. It is the ultimate high ground for missile defense radar watching Russia. It's a choke point to monitor all the new Arctic shipping routes opening up, and it hosts a critical space base for missile warnings. And here's the bottom line. You can't secure a missile's flight path with a business contract. You can't monitor submarine routes with a trade deal. For this kind of strategic advantage, you need physical control. You need runways, radar stations, and troops on the ground. But this kind of thinking comes with an almost unthinkable risk. I mean, we are talking about the sovereign territory of a founding member of NATO. Pushing this too far is playing with fire. And you don't have to take my word for it. The Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, couldn't have been clearer. She said a US takeover of Greenland would simply mark the end of NATO. Full stop. This nightmare scenario is so potent that some scholars have even coined a new term for it: alliance suicide risk. It's the catastrophic idea that the most powerful military alliance in history could be destroyed not by an enemy, but from within. So let's just put it all together on one screen. The pattern is striking, isn't it? The strategy shifts completely depending on whether the prize is the political software, the working hardware, or the physical map itself. So, what you should really take away from this is that we might be seeing a fundamental change in grand strategy. It's a shift away from occupying entire countries and toward controlling the specific corridors and domains that truly matter: ceilings, airspace, and even the ice itself. And that leaves us with one final and, frankly, pretty provocative question. If this logic of software, hardware, and owning the map is the new playbook, where else on the globe might it be applied next?